The three light system. So the three light system is a way we can light up our sculptures, our models. And this is used in all kinds of industries, photography, the movies, animation. It's a very common system of how we typically set up our lights. So we have three different lights. So here I've created three lights. The first one is located right here is the key light. Now the key light acts as your main source light. So this is usually a directional, or it can be a spotlight. In my case, I'm going to use a point light just because it's easier for us to learn and see. And this could have different colors of light. It could be like a reddish orange for candlelight. It could be maybe bluish for a moonlight, yellowish for a sunlight. Over here we have a fill light. And our fill light it's brightening up the shadow areas. So this is typically bounce light, so the light that bounces off the walls and the ceilings, etc. And again, this could have a hint to it. If we were outdoors, this could have a blue light, maybe for a summer day. If it's late in the evening, we could have a warm colors like pink or orange. And our third light is our backlight. And our backlight is to give it a little pop. A lot of times this is called the hair light, so it's usually focused on the back of the head or the hair. Now, what I do is by default you're going to have a directional light. So I come up and I do a create, and I create a light like a point light, and I add a point light in. Then I will delete that directional light, and I only use one light. And then I position it in all three axes. So I position it in the top, and then I'll come over and I'll spin it around. Let's say I'll come over here and I'll spin it to each view. Essentially, I'll come around and I'll place it so that I get it in the X, Y, and Z position where I want. I do that one light at a time, and so I select maybe on my key light, and I'll do this one light at a time and position the light. So I go around positioning it, looking at it from the right or the left or the front or the top. So I do that in all three views and position my light. You must turn on the grips in the show light. Okay, so the light is the center part here, and the grips allow me to move it. So you need those on to see where you're going, and you need to grab it by the grips and move it around. Now typically, let's go back to our top here and let's spin it around. So like I said, we want these three in these positions. The key light is going to be is the brightest light. So you typically want an intensity of about 1. Alright? And my fill light, we're going to have an intensity of about 0.5, or about half this. And this varies a little bit. In my backlight, the intensity is very small. I'm going about 0.25. Now, if you want to see the effects of these, the best way then come in here and just pick on one light. We'll start with the key light, and you turn it all the way up. All right. Then you can go to your fill light and say, let's turn it all the way down. And my backlight will turn it all the way down. Now you're seeing the effects of your key light at this point. Okay. So you can go to your fill light now and say, oh, let's go all the way intense, and go to my key light and turn it down, see what the effects of that light by itself is. So you can turn all your lights off except for that one and set the light to whatever value you want to see the effects. So generally speaking, I like to go with about a 1. These all vary depending on the situation, but rough starting point, I would have a fill of about 0.5, and I would have my backlight around, well, maybe 0.25, somewhere in there. Okay, and you can play with the colors and you can play with the light decay, and that will set up a standard 3-point lighting. All right, so this is where you start. You could actually add in little tiny small lights, but the more lights you add in, the lower you're going to have to drop the intensity of all your lights. So I always start off with 3 standard lights. These are the 3 light system, and if I need to, I'll add in very small lights here and there so I can actually see areas that need to be highlighted. But the standard 3-point lighting is found all over in photography and in the movies, etc. I recommend you start with a 3-point lighting and then add in additional lights from there.